Hello there, Di here. At the weekend I was tidying up my craft room and I came across a box of felt pieces that I'd completely forgotten about. It had gone completely out of my memory. These felts are not the nice wall felts that I normally use for anything particularly. These were stiff and hard and bright colours. Some of them were very thin, some of them were very thick, some of them were so hard you can barely bend them, and some of them are quite soft, but the majority of them have got adhesive backings. You pull this off and it's quite sticky underneath. So I went through the box anyway and pulled out all the good bits of felt that I wanted to keep, and was left with these odd bits and pieces, and I really thought, I really don't know what to do with them. They're khaki colours. I really don't know what to do with them. So I just left them sitting, and then I suddenly thought, I wonder how they'd be to make some tags, and there was quite a bit of red and green in amongst it. So the other evening I didn't have much to do, so I pulled out my Tim Holtz tiny tabs and tags die, the steel wool die, and the holiday lamppost die, which I don't use a great deal, but it has got a nice little holly sprig up in the corner. So with those two dies I set to, and with these odd shaped pieces I cut out a heap of tags, the small tags, and there's some of them still in here, you can see. I haven't done them all. And they cut quite nicely. I also cut, there's some of the holly sprigs, the larger pieces. I managed to get some tags, the other tags that are on this die, the round ones and the long ones. There's quite a few in there. The hole reinforcers, all of that. As you can see, they're still in there. In amongst it also was a pile of very khaki colours, but small pieces of felt, the thin felt, the more normal sort of felt that we use, cut out into various shapes. So, having cut all those tags out, I decided to make some of them a bit Christmassy. And so this is what I ended up with. I also, by the way, was cleaning up my twine and ribbon pieces. I've got a box for whole ribbon spools and bits and pieces, but I've also got a box where I throw offcuts and ends of rolls and bits that I've gone to use and didn't finish, that sort of thing. So I cleaned that out too and pulled out all the ones that were appropriately coloured and added them to these tags that I'd made. These ones have all got the holly sprigs with, this one's got lovely chilli sprinkles on it, so it's nice and bright. I might just go down a little bit so you can see. There we go. This one's got chilli sprinkles, so it's nice and red. Those three have all just got half pearls, red half pearls with sticky backs. On the back, this one's just got a file card, but all the rest have got this, it's quite nice sheeny pale gold, plus a little embossed heart that I saved from my last lot of tags I made with embossing powder. So that was those. That little green one's the same, except the berries on that are made from the centres of the hole reinforcers, where I cut them from red paper, and I just glued them on and glossy accented them, and they came up quite nicely. They're quite glossy. That little one, the green looked wrong on it for the Enjoy, so I couldn't cut the felt with that little thin die, so I just cut it out of red cardstock and it looks quite nice on that. These two I thought would be quite sweet for a girl, a young boy, baby, or you could, you know, if it was like baby's first Christmas type thing, if you wanted something special, you could put the year date in white or blue or whatever, put their name on it, that sort of thing. So they might be quite nice to attach to a little Christmas parcel for a newbie. A couple of other ones I did too. This one was just using the circles from the centre of the hole reinforcer. So I made them into a little tag with just a for you thing, not particularly Christmassy. And this one again is perhaps a baby card. It's a butterfly, blue, cherish, laughter, and what's the third one? Hearts. So little wishes perhaps for a baby's christening or that sort of thing. So that's that little tag. Then I started on the little circles, and for some time I've been going to try some beaded brooches because there's a lot on Pinterest that quite took my eye. They're very striking colours and quite pretty. You know, I rather like brooches myself. I wear them a lot. I've got a good collection of brooches. And I started making these, and because I haven't done any blanket stitch for quite a while, I'd sort of lost the knack, and I realised very quickly that these are not perfect enough for brooches. They're a bit skew-iff and a bit wonky. But I kept going because I thought, well, practice makes perfect and you have to get your hand in. So for this one, for example, has got a black layer, a purple layer and a red layer and a tiny yellow layer, with only the tiny yellow layer being beaded. This one, for example, has got a navy blue layer, a red layer and another navy blue layer, but all three of those are beaded on the end. They simply have a plain piece glued to the back and the paper clip glued within. And the three big ones I did because Sue very kindly gifted me 3 of the 100mm paper clips. So these are lovely big ones. I was pleased with those. Lovely and colourful. And the 2 little ones were just on standard paper, I think they're 50mm paper clips. Again, quite pretty, just with a cluster of beads in the middle, but quite nice, very sturdy, they're not coming off. And because I'd been practicing, I thought, right, I'm ready to make some brooches. And this is remembering, of course, that I don't have any nice colours. I've only got these funny old colours that really I didn't think would be worth making into brooches. But you know, when you put some edging on them with the thread and some coloured beads, they sort of take on a new lease of life. This one, for example, is mustard, a pale sort of dull olive and a lime green. And there's brown beads, there's bright yellow beads, and there's little raspberry beads with some little copper, tiny ones clustered in the centre. And yet, to me, somehow it works. The back is covered with another mustardy piece, and this has got, these two have got scalloped edges, and the little brooch backing stitched through, and it's the stitching that's holding these together. They're just layered up with stitching holding them together, whereas these are glued and are much more firm. This little one I quite like too. It's nice and bright, if you can pick it up there. It's got a bright red, a navy blue and a purple with blue stitching, red stitching with red beads and yellow stitching with yellow beads. And on the back of it is a blue with purple stitching, same as the first one. So that's the brooches, and I've got a couple of friends I want to send those to for Christmas, so you know, just little gifts. I'll just go back up again, I think I'm in a bit close. So that was quite nice. Then I thought, well, not everyone wears brooches, do they? So let's turn a couple of them into fridge magnets. So that's what I've done with these. They're a combination. They're stitched all around, they're beaded the same as the brooches, and a bit of glue on the top of that one. Beaded and stitched to hold them together, except for the back layer, which is well glued and has magnets in it. This little one's the same. It's a mustardy colour, a blue colour, and a creamy colour with a heart, orange heart bead, and a glued on back to hide the magnets. And I was thinking they'd make quite nice little, gifts for people that you don't want to give too much to. So I made a larger tag with the larger Tim Holtz thin die and 2 pieces of cardstock, a piece of cereal box in between the two, made a little bow. But when I adhered the top layer of cardstock onto the cardboard, I added a couple of magnets, and so these just cling to it. I thought that's quite a nice little gift. They don't need any other presentation that, though. You could pop them into a cellophane bag perhaps, but there they are, they're on there. It's obvious what they are when you pull them off. They've got a magnet in them, and they look quite nice on the fridge. They're and because of the felt backing, there's no way that that's going to scratch the surface of the fridge or anything like that. So that was that. All my tags, my fridge magnets, a couple of brooches, and decorated paper clips. And fortunately, I've just about gotten rid of most of the felt. So that was pretty lucky, really. I think I've had enough of felt for a little while. But these are good little evening tasks. You sit there watching something on the telly and just stitch away. They're quite fun to do, and as I say, it makes you concentrate on your stitching and get the distancing correct, that sort of thing, and finishing them off invisibly for the brooches, but you don't have to worry nearly so much for the paper clips. Well, that's about it from me. Just a bit more detail on my website if anyone wants to go and have a look. So I'll say goodbye and talk to you soon. Bye now.